Zaldrizes buzdaris gosdau.
Hey, welcome to Sirhan's Reviews. My name's Mark. I've posted about this a bunch on social media, but if you haven't seen it, that's why I'm making this video. There have been some leaks. Not really. House of the Dragon. There's a new book coming out at the end of January. And there's a bunch of images, behind the scene pictures, concept art. I'm going to talk about the most interesting ones in this video. Please, if you enjoy my content, consider checking out my Patreon. I know I always say, can you slap a like on this video? Can you do that? Can you slap a like on it? Like goal is going to be 420. and then also, consider checking out my Patreon. I haven't promoted that in my past couple of videos, and I need to do that because I've been busting my ass over there. I've uploaded like 7 times in the past 2 days, right? So what that is I can be myself, right? Check out my Patreon. If you want more content, you can join for just a couple of dollars. If you can't, thank you for watching this video. Please make sure you subscribe, slap a like on this video, turn notifications all the way on. There's 3 different levels, not all personalized in none. If you click all, that's like basically saying you want 11. Like 10 is hard, but like 11 is higher. I could have made 10 higher, but I didn't. 11 is what it is, right? So, Spinal Tap reference. Turn notifications on, please. Long night, by the way, my name's Mark. So I just need to respond to a couple of my patrons here. That's one of the other benefits you get with joining patrons. I sound like an ass when I say benefit. If you're a really big fan of mine, that's the best way to get in touch with me directly. Aside from, I pretty much respond to all the DM Instagrams and DMs from Twitter and stuff. But it's one of the benefits. I'll always respond right away, right? Once More with Feeling is the episode recommended by Billy Bob Thornton. Got it. I'll probably poop on the episode most of the video. And I actually told Billy that in my Buffy reaction, which was one of my most recent uploads. Yes, loved it. This is from Mixed Queen Destiny Phillips 420. She got me that Beware Dragon sign behind. Yes, loved it. Willow was so underrated. She was a total badass, and she was super smart. One of my favorite characters. Agreed. I really like her red pubic hair. Alright, so let's get to it. Now, I've actually posted these on my Twitter. They were initially posted by a House of the Dragon fan account, which I've linked on my Twitter. So let's see. Alright, so we'll talk about these ones first, right? So right here, this is really exciting because we never actually got to see a close-up of Sunfire in the episode. That we saw Sunfire from a fucking distance. So this is what Sunfire looks like up close. This is concept art, yes, but from the way that, the far out shot of Sunfire that we've seen, I'll put it up for you right now. This is how Sunfire is going to look. Now, initially, when the Green Council happens, Helena is crowned by her mother, Alicent. But right before that, Aegon and Helena fly around the city a couple of times and then ultimately land, right? In Maegor's Holdfast, in when they're crowned in the Dragon Pit, it's kind of like this massive, we had busted up the floor in the show, but ultimately, you see Aegon, he usurped the throne from his sister, but for the citizens of King's Landing, they see him and Helena, right, riding on their dragons, and for the most part, they seemed like the rightful king and queen. So you'll see some of the citizens obviously in the episode didn't necessarily agree with that, but this is really exciting, right? And right below that, we have Helena in front of more like a 3D render of Sunfire. That's awesome. Pink membrane, pink and like a light pink. It looks like, I think fuchsia is close to that. Fuchsia might be darker than that, but pink wing membranes and golden scales. Sunfire is the most beautiful dragon ever seen or ever will be shown on screen. I cannot wait. It's cool because the unique look to Sunfire adds to a distinction from Syrax. And one of the things I was worried about is because Syrax is described as being green with yellow scales, I thought, or yellow scales with like a greenish hinge to them, I thought that, Syrax and Sunfire would look similar, but that's not the case. They're giving the designs very distinctive look. Cyrax is a chonker, so that's one of the big differences. And also, Cyrax has like a brownish, bronzish, yellowish color, whereas Sunfire looks like it's going to be straight gold. Now, I mentioned this before. George has said in one of his Not a blog posts that when he first saw Sunfire, Sunfire looked like beaten gold on screen. We didn't see that. The only shot we saw of Sunfire was from far away. So hopefully that shot that George saw is included in the deleted scenes. And then another, this was my favorite image, right? Aside from Damon about to smash his wife's head in, I probably won't talk about that in this video, but this is the dragon size. Holy crap, was I wrong? All right? Like, I initially said that Vhagar would be about the size of Drogon in Game of Thrones Season 8, because my logic behind that, really stupid, my logic was that it would look crazy to see a dragon as big as everybody wanted it to be, or as big as it is in the books, right, Vhagar, and a little tiny rider. I am not the best person with CGI. I've never worked in the film industry at all, but I don't know really anything about that. So, I was wrong, and Vhagar is so much bigger than Drogon. As you can see right here, Drogon is like less than half the size of Vhagar. And I did see there was a comment, you can see over there on the right, where someone said, how the hell is Drogon bigger than Meleys? Obviously, Meleys is older than Drogon, but Drogon is a black dragon. Black dragons, in my opinion, right? I've said this theory a bunch of times in my videos. If you want a better in-depth version of it, go to YouTube, type in Sir Hunts, and then type in Valyrian dragon breeding, right? And the first couple of videos, I've done a few videos on it, but the first couple of videos that pop up will be the ones that I recommend watching if you want more. But basically, red dragons were bred for their ferociousness. They were meant to be able to take on multiple dragons at once, and they were meant to be way stronger than dragons that are bigger than them. We have Caraxes killing Vhagar and surviving long enough to pull itself to the shore. Look at the difference between Caraxes and Vhagar. So that proves my red dragon ferociousness theory. And the other one is black dragons. Black dragons grow big and they grow fast and they're for intimidation. Every single time Balerion's mentioned, we get the description that he's called the Black Wings, right? His wings were big enough to darken entire cities and black out the sun. That is fear and intimidation if I've ever heard it in my life, right? So black dragons were bred for how fast they grow, how big they are, and how terribly monstrous they look, right? Obviously, Vhagar is just really old, and that's why she's so big. I think green dragons, if I had to guess, green, blue, yellow, golden dragons, those were more so bred for looks, right? So when you have a red dragon and a black dragon combination like Drogon's probably going to be able to kill his brothers when it comes down to the Dance of the Dragons Part 2 happening in, eventually in the books when we get Winds of Winter and we get A Dream of Spring. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you didn't think this video was that long, well, you're right, it wasn't. Please consider checking out my Patreon for some more content. You know what? Let me do a couple more of the ones. Let's do this one right here. Well, no, that's just the Bronze Fury, right? The person in front of him looks like someone in Kingsguard armor. Initially, maybe during the concept design process, they thought that Eric or Arik Cargill would be one of the ones to go and confront Vermithor to do a dragon check, and then last minute, or just initially when they finalized it, Daemon's the one there. It makes more sense. He's corralling the dragons. Vermithor likely would murder anyone who comes near it. Like when Dragon Seeds happen, Vermithor is only mounted by Hugh the Hammer because it's been mounted before, but ultimately a lot of the other dragons, even if they've been mounted or if they're wild, they'll lash out against people that are near them. So maybe this is why they decided to change it in the actual show when we seen it's Daemon in front of Vermithor. Remember, this is his grandpa's dragon, so he probably was around his dragon when he was much younger, and the fact that he sings to it, winged leader, fire breather, right? That's probably something he heard Jaehaerys singing to Vermithor to soothe him. That's a theory of mine, and it just makes the most sense because why would Daemon just sort of fall into that as soon as he sees the Bronze Fury of Vermithor? And then the last image, that's Sea Smoke. Really exciting. We haven't actually seen an up-close image of Sea Smoke, but it's really cool to see that they went with a totally unique color design. Now, this could potentially, and I don't think it is, could be Dreamfire, but that's just because it kind of looks like the dragon that younger Aemon walked up to in the dragon pit, although I doubt it. I think this is Sea Smoke, in my opinion. And then there's one more thing. These are just some more images. This is an awesome image of Damon, right? This is an image of Viserys with the green hand holding his baby, or his grandson, rather. And then this right here is the dragon pit. This is something I'll talk about for a bit. The top version is obviously the one we saw in the show in House of the Dragon Season 1, Episode 9. The bottom one is one I favor. It looks way more Valyrian. It looks like it fell out of straight up old Valyria. So I think that's probably why they didn't go with it. The architecture, mainly the caves in front of it, don't really fit into the vibe of King's Landing. Someone did ask me if I could identify those two dragons flying in. There's no discernible colors or anything like that. No, like, size-wise, yeah, kind of. Like, the front one's a little bit bigger than the one behind it, you would think, right? But that's just depth. There's just no discernible colors. So those are just two dragons they added in to let everybody know, hey, they're flying into the dragon pit. Like I said, I love the bottom design so much more than the top design, but the top design actually makes sense. The dragon pit is part of the city. It would make sense that it would have this massive staircase to allow everybody to go into it, right? Now, if you're unaware, dragon pit was initially built or put into commission by Maegor the Cruel, right? Basically, Maegor ends up fighting the Faith of the Seven. I've talked about that a bunch. And he burns down the Sept of Remembrance that was on top of Hill of Rhaenys, and then the Dragon Pit is constructed on top of that. Now, what's interesting, the Dragon Pit in general, let me pull that image back up. I don't know why I got rid of it. The Dragon Pit itself was supposed to be, like, the doors are wide enough for 30 men riding abreast, so 30 men in a row across vertically could ride through the entrance to the dragon pit. That's how wide it is. So they didn't necessarily go for that on the TV show, obviously, because we saw melees have to break through the door to get out. But I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could, please do me a massive favor, and if you can, right, consider joining my Patreon for like $2. You'll immediately get access to content that'll never be uploaded here to YouTube. Occasionally, I may drop an episode that I think is tame enough for YouTube standards, like I did the other day. I did that video back in October before House of the Dragon even ended, but it was about what will happen in Season 2, the Battle in the Gullet, and a bunch of things. I dropped it here on YouTube, and YouTube's hasn't demonetized or anything like that. So occasionally I may do that, but for the most part, it's all safe, tucked away on Patreon, waiting for you if you can join for just a few dollars. Thank you so much for watching. If you can't, please slap a like on this video. Please make sure you're subscribed. Please make sure you turn your notifications on, all those good things. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Also, I've got some massive collaborations coming that will be on my Patreon first. Eventually, they'll be here on YouTube, but they'll be on my Patreon first, and you can find out who I'm collabing with by joining Patreon. Thank you for watching. Ew. Stop smoking so much.